the line light.
If I shoplift, but they don't know. It's still illegal. If it falls in the forest and nobody's there to hear it, then it happens.
Okay. Oh, this is this is 2 years ago.
Whoa.
Yeah, those kids are strong. This is my best class.
Who is this?
That's a couple of years ago.
My name is Darby McCoy.
Darby McCoy is in blue.
Think of this area.
Darby is funny. She's the goat. She's the echo.
He's a furry.
All right, so this is our first FRQ.
Yay. I got it right.
I did not.
This one
Yeah, let's take a picture.
There you go.
Mr. Yeah. No, but so I can like look at it and see if I got voted.
So
I
it
got
turns out
I got demotivated.
Demotivated.
Unmotivated.
you.
Where's your homework? What is it?
I tried it.
No, not try. You didn't do anything.
No, I did.
This.
Yeah, no, I read it.
Light on your table.
Yeah.
Is it like a dry erase?
I have a glass piece. Yeah, just dry erase. And then like, and then your function is like this root wire.
Wow, I understand
I
everything.
just got to like next to it.
So you just changed the
You
I locked it in thorough roots in the middle of the night.
He does not know how to respond to that.
Right, and no one if you all switch, my friend gave it to me.
But shouldn't you have the notes? Shouldn't you have the notes and she gave it to you? So when you became with your friends,
It's your birthday today?
it's your birthday today? You didn't tell us?
Yeah. Why didn't you tell me? Because it's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Mr. Gay, it's a late birthday. We appreciate
I
it.
would have bought you candy or something. If you weren't such a bad friend and told me.
Okay, I think a good friend would know.
I've known you for like 6 months.
I don't think I will. I don't think I just inherently know.
I've been your friend 6 months. That's it. I'm switching.
Are you gonna take these students?
Thank God.
You know everybody.
I did the first problem, and then I did my physics homework, and then I played Minecraft for a few hours. This was at like 7, and then I finished it about midnight. True experience. I was like, okay, I can do this later.
I'm not gonna do the other one. Click on that white dot.
The intersection between the white dot.
What time you choose?
Yeah, well, because you know that this is
And you have to convert everything in terms of y.
Yeah, you have to set it. You can get. Then you get it's 0.902155. Are you supposed to use the calculator for that? Yeah. No. Yeah, no. Mr. Ye, you know the tangent of 0.902155 by heart.
Of course I know.
Yeah, like obviously everybody knows that, right? I'm such an idiot.
No, you need the calculator.
No, I think I don't worry about the one.
No, I said it.
I did a calculator, but I wouldn't know if it was right or not, or if there was a better. No, you had to do it, and then you did the tangent of it to find the y. Then that way you knew the x and the y. That way you could set the balance. And for r, you have to do horizontal. For s, you do vertical. Okay. You do not understand. Yeah, thank you.
So it should be.
It's just
How do you find intersection?
because you have to set them equal. So then
What? So I
Hold on.
put tangent.
you set
Those
why is it green?
Is it 2x?
So tangent x equals
2x cubed?
it's like 2x cubed minus 3, right? So then you do. So then what I did is I just graphed tangent x minus 2x cubed plus 3, or whichever way it is. I graphed it, found the 0. And that, because you have, isn't that part of the equation or no? What's the equation?
I don't really like.
I didn't see minus 3.
Oh, 2 minus x cubed, sorry. I thought it was wrong.
Y'all finna be at the same reaction.
So plus x cubed minus 2. Find the 0. So you use your calculator for that. Once you find the 0, it's 902.155. I had to type this number in multiple times.
Yeah, we have test on Friday, right?
It equals 0 at that. So x equals x. So then to find the y, you just plug it in. So I just
I
plugged it
don't.
into tangent.
0.902, right?
Tangent of 0.902155.
You had to solve for x though, so be
Can I check your
it's a bit
Then you have
arc
it
10.
backwards. So for this one,
2 minus whatever.
So x
Yeah,
equal
yeah,
to
but what
inverse
you
10
do
of
is
y.
what
10
I did is
inverse
I
y.
set it up to be one equation.
If we show up
So tangent x plus x
do you want
cubed
first to be
minus
there
2.
for the entire 2 hours?
Because you subtract this.
I mean, you have to live early, just
And you
make
find a
a
0.
little noise
Gives
when you
you
walk
this
out, but
x.
I take
not a big problem.
I plugged it into
You can plug it into either one. I just plugged it into tangent because it's only one argument.
Well, why not the 2 minus?
You could do it. It just is more complicated because it's more arguments.
Oh, because you can put that into calculator.
Yeah. All of this is done on the calculator. I don't know how.
Okay, this is the second FRQ.
And then so
If you need to look at the answers right here,
it's
second
something like
FRQ.
this. So you want to do this horizontal and this vertical. So you have to translate this. You have to translate them to x equals. So then you have x equals tangent inverse of y. And then you also have what was the other one? Yeah, it's x equals the cubic root of y minus 2. Right? Wait.
I think 2 minus
2 minus y, yeah. 2 minus y. So then you look at which one's which. So this is the tangent one, this is the x cubed.
Do you
Right?
mind moving over a teeny bit? Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
No,
This is all very messy.
so
But you are doing good.
So then I don't remember which is which. Hold on. So for here you have root 2 minus y, cube root 2 minus y. Here you have
the
tan inverse of y. So then you do right minus left. So integral from
Wait, but which one would be-
0, and then well, hold on. So if we're doing dy, where do we measure from? How
The
do, how,
X, the X axis. No, the
well,
Y.
yes, we're doing it from here to here. Well, how are we? So if I'm doing dy, I'm going up. So which coordinate of this do I need to stop it at?
What do you mean?
Do I need to stop it at the x coordinate or the y coordinate? The height or the length?
The Y.
The y. Okay. So because of that,
Oh, didn't you find that number earlier?
Yes,
That's like
in
the
the- yeah, and that's the tangent of this, which is
It's gonna be really hard for me, but it's because I'm in charge.
1.265.
Somebody around.
0 to 1.65. So then it's
Oh,
It's hard for
okay.
me to
Wait,
make
and
it
then
wait,
you
wait.
have-
You can
because
oh,
I'm in
wait.
charge of designing
So
today.
Oh.
But if
and now I'm trying to. You know how there's
If they
2
don't take-
areas right now?
yeah.
Do I split the
We're
check
finding
that
r,
up?
right?
it'll be okay if they just come.
Okay, so that's
Ignore
small r.
this.
Okay.
Ignore this.
So 0. But
Like, just
So
work
which
on
one?
it.
So then,
Wait,
how
wait.
do you do dy d? How do you do the
If you let that.
I solved for Y.
Well, you already have the
Who are
one.
those people?
But how do you, what's the
What are-
equation
This is a
for
family
finding the area under two curves?
Just one person?
Why the 2?
What's her
Because
name?
there's one curve and another curve, and you're doing it horizontal. So which is it? Left minus right or right minus
Oh,
left?
it's right minus left.
Okay, so you have cubic
So-
root of 2 minus y.
I
Where?
can't like leave them.
No, because you're not rotating. Minus tangent inverse. And then you just do that, and that gives you the area.
Why is it not square? I'm confused.
Because
Oh, okay,
remember,
okay.
it would be pi blah 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 r minus l r squared minus l squared
Why is it L?
if you're revolving it. We are not revolving it. We're just trying to find the
Why
area.
is it L?
Whatever you want to use.
Oh.
Little r, whatever. I would say right minus left. Why, Mr. Yay? But do you get why we're not squaring it? Because also that would mean because we're not trying to find the revolution. We're just trying to find the area. Of
Oh, we're only finding the area. Of
yeah, you're only finding the area. And same with
Oh.
this. No, I didn't say
Yeah, I was trying to find the. I was trying to find the rotating.
right,
one.
you only find the rotation on the third part.
Oh shit.
Because I did that at first
That's all
too.
they could do the entire time. They couldn't do it.
And actually, it's like 0.7 something.
Who's the donut?
Such a messed up donut, but it's
No, what friend gave you?
no, he just.
Was it Elise?
No, it's just must have
Was it Elise?
No.
Really?
Or wait, look at my beautiful sweats right there.
Which one of your friends gave you?
No.
Gave you down.
She just was surprised me in the morning. but I
Rod,
was
do you
like,
like my beautiful work that I showed up there? So neat.
Her name's Dr.
You're right. Charlie don't care.
Yeah.
But do you at least vaguely understand what I did there?
I don't know why I skipped the black questions because they're really easy.
No, that makes sense. I was just trying to find it.
Right, yeah, you only, I paid attention to nothing.
No. But I did it myself.
You understand it?
Yeah, I just got lazy. I didn't want to do it. Whereas Elaine is very smart. Yeah, Elaine's very smart.
It's a great combination. I'm just, Elaine's very smart. She's like hunched over. They keep her like her mangled.
Elaine, how when you can't say a donut.
Look at the state of the donut.
I can eat a donut like that. 60,000 on next guy, tons of tacos and burritos. What? You're Italian Mexican. Why are you doing this? Why did you just ruin my entire paper? I was gonna write my homework.
He's right around it.
I think partially.
Elaine, I'm German. I'm more Mexican than I am.
You have to spend that much money, but they did great. You be going down like
Yeah, he's like chocolate.
No, he's not.
My part of I can't play it.
It was busted.
I did that one night at your house, bro. Never talked to me again. He took me out of the game. That's actually
Look at like the beginning of the tea. Why is it giving the tea? It's great.
Oh, so you guys think it's
Can we go to something else ridiculous?
your mom money.
But I got one thing wrong. I got one thing wrong.
No, I already did it.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Alright.
You got two pages of that? There he is. I literally just asked him years ago. He looks so tired.
Oh wait, actually, did you have to fight somebody for your lunch?
No.
Mr. A, do you like my very neat and tidy note of like work on there?
Sure. All right, so we're gonna talk about the first page. Question about first page is. Okay, so any question about the first page? 2C. Okay, I think everybody asking that, so that's good. I already memorized the questions, so the questions should look like this. This point, this point, this
Oh, we
point.
can't see.
Oh, you cannot see. Sorry. Quick time. There you go. Now you can see, right? So it's gonna be here. It's rotating where? Y equal to what?
3.
3.
Yes.
So that's a rotation. Okay. So first thing is there are small r and there's a big R. Did you draw those two lines?
Yeah.
Is it dx or dy? Dx is a disc or washer. Is which boundary? Which boundary?
0 to 4.
0 to 4 because yeah, you do integration all the way from 0 to 4. What is the big R of x and the small r of x? So what is the big R of x? 2, because this is always 2. Doesn't matter where, it's always 2. Do you see that? And r big small r of x is gonna be, yeah. So this is the function, by the way. This is gonna be 1 plus root x, right? And this is 3. So how do I get a blue line?
3 minus parentheses.
3 minus parentheses 1 plus root x. And I love that parentheses part because you don't have that parentheses, you're not going to get it right. So it's going to be integration between 0 to 4, 2 minus 3 minus 1 plus root x. And then don't forget the square. Don't forget the pi.
The way I kind of looked at it was I realized that you don't really even need to acknowledge the x-axis. You can almost look at it as if it's shifted down one.
I don't think that's a good way to look at it. It just AP exams. I don't know if they're gonna give you points. It just they have a scoring rubric.
Okay.
You have to base on the x-axis. Don't base on the graph because you pretend the graph to the other thing. So for example, Jared did this question, and remember this is a question yesterday, and he says, well, I just basically did this. I got the same answer, and I rotate around x-axis. The problem is your setup is gonna be completely wrong. You're not based on this graph. You're based on that graph, so that's why it's wrong. Because this one we're trying to rotate here, right? And he said, well, I just do this one and rotating here, I should get the same answer. But the problem is you based on a different graph. You're not based on a graph that's giving. So you had to base on a graph that's giving instead of shifting those graphs up and down. He just do a different orientation. Yes. Yeah. Next question.
No, confused on 2B.
2b, what's 2b says?
It's finding the y.
Huh?
The y-axis for number 2.
A y-axis?
Yeah.
Okay, so the y-axis is gonna be pretty much the same thing, but except the big radius is gonna be 1 plus root x. The small radius is gonna be 1. So imagine that if you have the graph like this, right? And if you're rotating here to the x-axis, so your small x is 1, your big X is 1 plus the function. 1 plus, well, not 1 plus 1. Yeah, it's actually, yeah, 1 plus 1 root x. Because this is 1 here, this is a 1 plus root x. Huh? She says y-axis. I'm so sorry, I misunderstand you. So if it's a y-axis, then you're gonna go with. So let me do a y-axis here. So y-axis is gonna be here, and it's rotating here, right? So it's gonna be here and here. Right? Is it dx or dy? Is it washer or disk? Does that make sense? Elaine, does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's from which bound to which bound?
I put 1 to 3.
1 to 3 is perfect. Good job. And what's a big R of y?
I put 4.
4 is great. What is small r of y?
Is it 1 plus root x?
No.
What? I solved for one?
Yeah, 1 plus root x, you had to solve for y, so it's going to be y plus 1 equal to root x. X equal to, oh no, sorry, this is minus 1. So this is going to be y minus 1 square. So y minus 1 square.
Oh, and I FOIL it out.
You don't need a FOIL, just keep it that way. 4 square and y minus 1 square. Square. 1 to 3 pi dy.
So for like this, you only care about some these type of questions.
Huh?
Like for these type of questions where it's like kind of hard, you just care
You don't
about
have to FOIL these.
Setup. I mean, you can FOIL it out, but it's not hard to FOIL this out. But for me, I will always set up, check the answer, make sure the answer is right, because the answer right, that means your setup's right. Then I'll go back to evaluate, right?
Do you give us the answer on the exam or?
They won't give you an
Oh,
answer.
okay.
I mean, I give you answer on the practice, but
Like, but on like Friday's test, you're not gonna have the answer.
what's not answer?
Do you care about us evaluating on
Most of the time, I more care about setup.
Okay.
Evaluating, I'm gonna tell you specific question you need to evaluate.
Got it.
Like, but on the AP exam, we can leave it as one.
On AP exam, you just have to use calculator,
Okay. Alright.
and that's a multiple choice. Sometimes it can be a question that you have to evaluate. So, shh. Let me talk, please. Okay, so on AP exam FRQ, most of the time just set up because the AP exam that you saw, those are actual FRQ, is back to 2002 and 2003. And we talked about 20 years ago. They already let students use calculator, set up, evaluate. So, using calculator. Now, the only time that ever show up that you have to evaluate on your own, because ideally, College Board doesn't really care about if you know how to evaluate something. They care about you know how to set up something. Because you can set up, you can actually use PhotoMath, you can solve it, which is most people do. Yesterday, I had BC Calc kids. They are working about solving it over there, someone on the board. But I have Yulia, she just take a picture, she set up, she take a picture, she do it on PhotoMath, and she got an answer, and she matched her setup is correct. So that's more smarter way to look at it is in the future, technology will do a lot of calculation for you, but you still have to learn how to set up, right? The problem is calculator is not gonna, you give them this graph, they're not gonna know what to do with it. I mean, that would be a good thing to try on ChatGPT. I tried it on ChatGPT on a certain word problem. So the word problem was saying Frank's dad is 2 years older than mom, and the Frank is 1/4 his dad's age, and when Frank's born, that the mom's age plus dad's age is equal to 46, and I asked ChatGPT to solve it. ChatGPT set up wonderfully. Solve it at the end is wrong answer. Yeah, it's the thing is ChatGPT as of right now not able to completely all the way through, but I believe in probably 1 year or even ChatGPT 4 probably able to solve that problem pretty easily.
It's still really impressive.
Huh?
I would say it's still really impressive, even if it doesn't solve. If they get the setup right.
They got like whole setup. They say the Frank's dad is the F, and Frank's mom is F minus 2, and they say Frank's son is F over 4, and they have like all the things very systemized, which is pretty impressive for a computer AI to come up with that. But if you give him AI for this graph, like it just graph it for him and just say rotating around x-axis, and there will be no idea what you're trying to ask.
Can you show us like what it does if you try to plug in the FRQ?
I don't know. You should try it. I would love to try it actually.
Do it right now.
I want to make a TikTok video about it.
Do it. Record it.
No, I actually did with a little kid. Like I tried to convince little kid. I says, little kid's like, yeah, I could have used ChatGPT. I said, okay, fine, let's try ChatGPT. So we plug in ChatGPT. They're a 7th grade kid. So I just type in the ChatGPT and we solved it by hand first. We got the right answer. And then we say, hey, and the little kid named Kevin is like, oh, I could have done this with ChatGPT. I said, okay, let's try it. I mean, we plug in, solve it. The actual age is supposed to be, I think, 32. ChatGPT come out with 28. But ChatGPT is wrong. And as I see, ChatGPT not everything. And Kevin's like, oh, okay. You know? I guess you're right. So I mean, the idea is you guys have to be smart enough to judge what's right and wrong. That's the only way you're not going to become obsolete. So a lot of time, like I asked Anthony. Anthony says, yeah, physics teacher did not teach. I just type in the ChatGPT and kind of teach me. Sometimes give me wrong answer, but still I get the idea correctly. And so he using ChatGPT to learn. But he's the one that can make it critical decision what is right and what is wrong. So there's a difference between people used to cheat or people used to learn, and they're different. I think a lot of time you can use to learn actually is very, very productive. Honestly, I think education system should embrace ChatGPT. I used to hate Mathway, and I think embracing it is better than hating it, because in the future, like 220 years ago, nobody used Google, and now everybody uses Google, right? So the idea is that education should follow the trend of the technology as well. You cannot just still using the same old system. But you have to be able to create even with a new technology. So I think I'm a better teacher than a lot of calculus teacher because I know how to use Desmos really well. And Desmos really put a big difference between for math education. I think that's fundamental. Give you a lot of different perspective. Even BC, we're doing polar graph. We're doing some stuff like graphing calculator cannot do. Like for example, I'll show you. Like we able to find. Oh yeah, we're gonna do this too. So, that's some math. That's some competition kids do that. So for example, I want to find out what is sine, like r equal to sine of 3 theta. Okay, so it looks like this, right? And I want to find the area between it. Now I was like, wait, how do I do this? How do I do this? And so what we did is we figured out we can insert this as a, and we add a slider a, so between 0 to 2 pi. And then we can say, well, what is less than? So we can actually find the area. And so if you play it, and they will actually go into all areas, and they see all the areas formed based on the different radians. So Desmos definitely give you a different perspective. You gotta learn how to use it. And that's what we're gonna talk about when coming afternoon in SAT. I'm gonna teach you how to use Desmo to cheat. Desmo is gonna be a fundamental difference between a 700 and 500. You can go all the way to 700 without knowing too much math. From 700 to 800, you have to know your math. I think go all the way to 700, you can go straight with Desmo. I mean, you know how the percentage works and stuff like that. So yeah. So the idea is that I do think like people need to embrace technology. I have talked to a teacher in the past. Teacher like, you should not let students use Desmos. You should let students use graphing calculator. And I fought with her. She's been teaching for 37 years. And she's teaching across Florida. Really wonderful teacher. Have a really high pass rate. And I fought with her. I argue against her. I said, look, my student not able to afford graphing calculator. I teach in really low demographic school. People cannot using graphing calculator, so we're using Desmos. He said, no, you should not. I was like, well, we're not all rich like you. And we had to figure out a way to around it. So we use Desmos. I buy $10 TI-83 calculator from like Craigslist, and I will actually distribute to kids. Because I can, they just need a TI-83 to be able to function, not TI Inspire. or TI-84 CE. Just a very simple TI-83 calculator should be enough. So we actually did it, and we actually make kids pass with a TI-83. But we should embrace technology. That's what I'm saying. I say learn how to use Desmos. It's going to be very, very important. So what if I change this graph and I say, hey, if I draw this graph to ChatGPT and I say, hey, I want you to rotate around x equal to -2. So can you figure out how do I find this value? Can you guys work it out? It's rotating around x equal to -2. I don't think ChatGPT can say that. You're gonna tell him says rotate around x equal to 2 of this graph. I don't think they can take the image, think about what the graph questions think. So for example, I think ChatGPT is gonna have problem what kind of questions asking. If I have something, so it's still human being had to make the decision. Says how we're gonna execute certain things. How do we ask ChatGPT questions? Because we cannot give him a graph. I'll probably do it in a second though. I don't know if I can get on ChatGPT on school Wi-Fi.
I know you can do Microsoft Copilot, and I think they use GPT, but I'm not sure.
Wait, it's not ChatGPT, right? OpenAI, right?
Yeah, it's number 2, x equals 2. Wait, was it x equals 2 or x equals -2?
They still block it, even XVPN. Oh, they didn't. Rotate it around x equal to -2. It's taking forever. I kind of want to see if we can do it though.
This is the equation I have.
That one?
Yeah. It's y. Or no, wait, hold on. I got it. It's 1 to 3. My bad.
You guys got it or no?
Yeah.
Let's see how you guys do. It's dx or dy? Dy. There's 2 lines, right? So it's dy. Washer. What is the boundary?
1 to 3.
1 to 3. Good. What's the big R of y? No. 6. Think about this arrow, right? I draw 2 arrows. So because one arrow is from -2 to 0, and the other arrow is all the way to 4. Okay? So what will be R of y here?
It would be 2 plus y squared.
2 plus y squared. Good. Because it's 2 arrow, right? This part is y squared. This part is 2. Does that make sense? So it's going to be 1 to 3 pi 6 squared minus 2 plus y squared square dy. And I just solved it with, it didn't spend more than 30 seconds. I'm kind of interested if ChatGPT can do that.
Did it load?
I didn't know.
Wouldn't it be?
No. You think about it as area is distance from here to here, right? To here. So two arrows. One is from 0 92 to 0. And one is from 0 to 0. Yeah.
Because you have to have you make it like that where you have the 2 and then you have the y squared.
Up 1 is just your integral between 1 to 3, so it's 12. It doesn't matter.
Mr. 38, what do you believe?
Wait, did somebody told me the wrong function? Oh, that's. I think it's 1 plus y squared, right? No. Y minus 1. Okay, sorry. This one is 2 plus. Ethan told me the wrong answer.
Y minus 1 squared.
Minus 1 squared.
Squared.
Sorry about it. Yeah, so this one is actually y minus 1 squared. Does that make sense? Because that arrow is additional. It's 2 plus whatever. So you're not always adding, sometimes it's subtracting because they are 2 arrows. This is 2, right? This is the function, which is y minus 1 squared. So 2 plus y minus 1 squared.
Why can't it be like one minus?
Y minus. Wait, what are the two? There's.
What?
How would it look if it was minus?
If it's on the other side, then you have to minus something. So if axis rotation all the way to 6, which is we did that earlier, did we? Yeah, we. Oh, so think about it. If you have, I think there was one that we have to rotate around 6. So it was like this. It was rotating here. Rotating here. Then it's gonna be like this and like this, right? Then that'll be 6 minus the function. Based on your way your axis rotation is. So you have to draw an arrow, you have to judge how long the arrow is.
How can you rotate an object outside of its bounds though?
Yeah, of course you can.
But how?
Imagine that if you take this thing here, right? And think about if they can hold it straight. Like if you can hold it straight. Now, I can have axis rotation outside here. Then just basically you rotate, you take this, and there's a hollow gap in the middle.
I see.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can actually just imagine that like this. Simon hold it. And the axis rotation is right here. Now if Simon just walked around here,
I understand.
then there's a hollow inside. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's a 7 in the middle. Yeah, Simon's fine. You can bring it in.
Yeah, no, when I typed it into ChatGPT, it came out as 4 pi, which is not correct.
Is it not?
I don't think so. Well, given the fact that it starts the volume as 2 pi.
But they did pretty good setup though. No?
The first step is volume equal 2 pi integral from 1 to 2 of y minus 1 squared times 6. Which is not at all correct.
Yeah. I think like they need to build a certain bot inside. I know they can specialize
And then for
stuff
some
now.
reason they took the 6 out of the integral and made it so it's 12 pi times the integral. I don't even know how they did that.
Yeah. So ChatGPT is kind of fun to play with, but you can also recognize there's still problem in there.
Yeah.
And all depend on how you ask those questions. It really depends on like you gotta be the one that making judgment. So a lot of time I told my son this actually. I say, you know, I realize like my son's YouTube subscribing is all end up to be all the gaming channel. And I says, you know, you got to be careful because you know how like echo chamber that you keep on getting feed of same thing. So a lot of people like says like, you know, I look at it a few years ago. I was a lot more liberal than now. I'm a lot more conservative compared to liberal and conservative. But the thing is, you have to have a different perspective. You cannot just watch CNN all the time, and you cannot just watch Fox Channel all the time. You have to have a both side of view, and you have to be the one that make a decision. Like, what do you think is better? I think the problem with the echo chamber is you just get feedback of same thing, and especially like YouTube, the algorithm, and that's why it more scared my son is like I says, look, you got to watch out what are you watching. Not everything you're watching is correct. You have to be that decision making, like what is right and what is wrong. You know, otherwise, like, you know, people do Tide Pod challenge, think like, oh yeah, it's cool to swallow a Tide Pod, and like, and okay, you're an idiot. I'm sorry, but if you think Tide Pod challenge is fun, it's blue. It must taste good, right?
Five shooting.
Yeah, it's like and the problem when people watch that, they're gonna get all other stupid challenges, like I don't know, NyQuil chicken challenge. And I don't know. It's the same thing, right? Is that true? I'm not making this up, right? I don't know. Somebody told me. I don't know.
I don't reckon this is right either. 28 pi over 3.
Yeah, he had to do 1 hour math in order to play 1 hour Roblox.
1 hour math, 5 minutes.
No, I'm serious.
For an hour, you have to do 12
1 hour reading and 1 hour Roblox. 1 hour math, 1 hour
That's
Roblox.
fair. How old is he?
And you had to play like basketball with me for 2 hours, play 1 hour. Like there was like currency at my house. Like there was currency. Like you had to do something straight.
And we had to fill out the bingo chart and do stuff, and then
Yeah, that's how it was for me when I was reading aloud. Yes, in English specifically. Yeah.
yeah.
He's
He's a Tory. He supported Brexit.
I did not support Brexit.